if you don't have blocks, maybe either bring a couple of rolls of paper towels or toilet paper. So I'll set these aside. Okay. Yep. And so today, I don't think there are any props that are absolutely necessary as usual. But if you have things you like using, by all means, have those available. I always think it's handy to have a cushion or a pillow. And blocks are often handy. So we're going to start standing today. And you can stand in any way you like. And start by stretching your arms out to the side, really kind of, move around and get a little bit of a stretch. Whatever feels good. Take a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug. So I mentioned in the email that I sent out that hugging lowers cortisol levels, so helps lower stress. And you don't need someone else to hug you. You can hug yourself and the same benefits happen, which I think is awesome. So give yourself a hug. You could kind of move around a little if it feels good. And then open your arms up and give yourself another hug, but switch the cross of your arms here. Maybe swivel from side to side a little. And then release that. And bring your hands to your hips. And start to jut one hip out to the side. And notice that your pelvis, which is normally level, kind of tilts when you do that. And then swivel your hip around slowly and then stop at the other side. So it's tilted the other way and then swivel to the front and just kind of like slowly draw these circles with your hips. And so this is going to kind of move your femurs around in the hip socket. And it doesn't have to be a big movement, but it might be. It's just going to depend on what it feels like for you. And you can stop and switch sides, like switch directions. And that may be determined by what your hip sockets are built like. For one thing, there's a huge variation between people. And once you've done it a few times in both directions, you can pause, bring your arms down, and then see if it's possible to sweep your arms up. And when you get to the top, join your fingertips together. So thumb to thumb, pointy finger to pointy finger, and do this without looking. And then sweep them down, draw them behind you, and see if it's possible to match your fingers up to the fingertips. And try that a few times. If you'd like to inhale as you come up and exhale as you go down, you can do that, but you can also breathe however you like. Just notice, do your fingertips just automatically find each other, like middle finger meets middle finger, pinky meets pinky? Or are some of them like, wait, where am I? So this can help build proprioception, or knowing where you are in space, even without looking. Maybe try that one more time. And when you've completed it, you can come on down and have a seat on the floor. So maybe you prop your hips up on a pillow, if that feels more comfortable to you. And you can sit however is comfortable. You can sit on your bottom. You could kneel down if that works. And then bring your arms out to the side. And I'm going to kind of be cueing sometimes with inhales and exhales. And if that doesn't work for you, just make sure you're breathing. And just ignore my cues. So as you inhale, lift your arms up and try that same thing where you touch your fingertips together without looking. And then as you exhale, draw your hands down. Do that one more time. Bringing your fingertips up. And this time, pause at the top and just bring your left hand down and stretch up and over to the side. So you're looking for a stretch through that side body, lifting up through your fingertips, rooting down through both sitting bones. So if your side is tending to pop up like that, make sure you root it down and just don't lean as far. And then come back to center, stretch your opposite hand up, touch fingertips, and then drop your opposite hand down. And same thing. Once you're there, come into a side stretch. Try that one more time. Come to center, lift your fingertips up, try to meet them all together, and then drop your left hand down and stretch to the side. Come back to center, lift your left arm, try to meet your fingertips, and then drop your right hand down. And once it's down, stretch up and over to the side. Come back to center. You can drop both hands, maybe shake your arms out just a little bit. And as you're ready, open your arms out. You can bring your fingertips to the ground behind you and begin to open through your chest. Maybe look up. And you're coming into a version of cow pose or Vitalasana. And then as you're ready, come to neutral. Sweep your arms out to the side. Give yourself a hug. Maybe just pay attention to whatever arm is on top. Start to round through your spine. Drop your chin to your chest. And this is a version of cat pose or Marjariyasana. And then come to neutral and make your way back into cow pose, opening through your chest, maybe leaning on your fingertips, maybe looking up. And when you're ready, come back into cat pose, giving yourself a hug, kind of rounding through your back, dropping your chin. And as you're in cow pose, you could potentially move around a little bit. So maybe a little bit of a seaweed movement through your back or kind of snaking around a little bit. Just some kind of gentle freeform movement to see what does that feel like? Can you get into any stretching areas or areas of tension? And then take your time moving between cat and cow at your own pace, and maybe thinking about each time you give yourself a hug, bringing the opposite arm on top. So, however fast or slow you feel like moving. Maybe do that one more time. And whenever you're finished, come to center. And then from here, extend your arms out to the side. Give yourself another hug. And this time, keeping both sitting bones rooted down, see what it's like just to lean to one side, keeping your chest open to the front. And it might not be a very big movement. And then come back up and lean to the opposite side. And notice what has to engage in order to hold you. You can come back up. Try that a couple of times. Maybe switch the cross of your arms partway through. Just a little lean, only as much as works for your body. And then come back to center and release that. And make your way down onto your back. Place the soles of your feet on the ground. And draw your left knee up a bit. Place your right hand on your left knee, just above your left knee. Press your hand into your knee and your knee into your hand. And then you can stay here pressing these two limbs together. You might also consider lifting your left arm to any degree. It can come overhead, wherever feels right. You might also consider lifting your right leg to whatever degree works. And you might notice that even though you're lying on your back, that's some tough work. If you continue pressing your knee into your hand and your hand into your knee. And then if your foot is up, you can drop your foot. If your left arm is up, you can drop your left arm and then release everything. Take a deep breath, sigh it out. And we'll try that on the other side. So draw your right knee in a bit. Place your left hand on your right knee, your palm. Press them together. And then decide if you want to try lifting an arm, maybe lifting a leg. Any version is a good working version, as long as it feels sustainable to you. And then if your leg is up, you can drop your leg. If your arm is up, you can drop your arm. And then release everything. Maybe sigh, maybe try some horse lips. Before then, making your way up to seated again. And once you're seated, as always, lifting your hips up on a cushion or something can be really helpful. Bring the soles of your feet together and see if it's possible to sit up tall. And if it's not, sometimes something that can be useful here would be to scooch back up against a wall so a wall can support your back. But just notice, is your back really rounding? Allow your knees to come out to the side, but press your feet together with a little bit of activity there. And you can keep your fingertips on the ground and focus on finding length through your spine and kind of working into that hip hinge. Or if it feels like it's doable for you, you could start folding forward to whatever degree works. So wherever you are in this posture, Baddha Konasana, take a few deep breaths. Try to breathe fully and slowly. And notice what you're feeling. If you're folded forward, you can come back up and then bring your knees together and make your way up to standing in whatever way works for you. So once you're standing, if you want to shake out your legs, you can shake out your legs. If you want to shake out your arms or anything else, you can do that. And then as you're ready, find just a neutral stance. And then try that, sweeping your arms up and pressing your fingertips together again, without looking to see if maybe you can get them to match up. And then try it behind you. And then one more time, up. It doesn't have to be directly overhead, and your arms can be bent to whatever degree. And then one more time behind you. Then as you're ready, lift your arms up and grab your right wrist with your left hand. And then stretch up, maybe lean over to the side a little bit here. Take some deep breaths, seeing if you can find a stretch through that outer side. And then come back to center, switch arms, and try the other side. Come back to center. You can drop your arms and shake them out for a moment. And sweep them up. Grab your right wrist. Stretch up and over to the left. And you can stay here if you like. And another option, if you'd like to try it, would be to hover your right foot, left foot, that inside foot, and maybe lift that leg a couple of times. And that might be really hard. You might topple over. It might just not be doable, but just notice. And then release all that. Shake whatever needs shaking before doing it on the other side. Sweep your arms up, grab your left wrist, stretch up and over. Decide if you'd like to try hovering on your left foot, maybe lifting your right a couple of times. And of course, this is a choose your own adventure. And then release. Shake out your arms a little bit. I'm going to remove my socks. I started off really chilly this morning, and it just keeps warming up. So from here, step your legs out pretty wide. Just a wide stance for you. And then really ground through your feet. So your feet are going to be pointing forward. Ground through your feet. Think about kind of squeezing your feet towards each other to create a little stability in your body. Stand up tall. Bring your hands to your hips. And then begin hinging from your hips to come forward. And you can come forward a little bit or a lot. You can come forward, maybe place your hands either on the floor with your fingertips, or if you have a piece of furniture in front of you, you could try that. And notice if you can feel a stretch anywhere. Sometimes people feel this through the backs of their legs, through their inner thighs. I definitely do. Take a few breaths here. This is Prasarita Padottanasana. And then if you would like to, you could continue folding forward so that your upper body kind of just drapes over your lower body and your head hangs and your neck releases. And of course, only do that if it works for you. So maybe if you're feeling dizzy, you don't do it. Maybe if your lower back
is not happy with it, you don't do it. And then if you're folded all the way forward, come back to halfway. So you're in this kind of 90 degrees ish with a flat back. And then lift yourself all the way back up. You might bring your hands to your hips and come back up. And once you're here, turn your heels in and your toes out at maybe like a 45-ish degree angle. Start to bend through your knees. Just gently come into goddess pose, whatever, at whatever level, however high up or down low you want to be right now. And make sure that you're not arching through your low back, but kind of tucking your tail a little and engaging through your lower core to create some space in your back. And then extend your arms out to the side. And if you'd like to give yourself a hug, go ahead and give yourself another hug. Breathe here. If you'd like to find movement in this pose, we often will kind of like move a little from side to side, bounce around a little. Just notice what feels right to you. Sometimes holding it still is unpleasant. You can also open your arms and then try the same thing, but switch the cross of your arms. And you might come back to center and then lean from side to side a little, just using those kind of sides of your body. And then as you're ready, straighten your limbs, lift your arms and see if you can bring your fingertips together. And then try that behind you again. One more time. Then bring your arms out to the side. Turn your right toes in a little and turn your left toes so they're facing the short edge of your mat. And then bend through your left knee. You're in this warrior two position now. So as you're in warrior two, you might try looking over your front fingertips and just notice, how does that feel in your neck? And if it doesn't feel good in your neck, you don't have to do it. If you're doing that, then bring your head to the front. Maybe lift your fingertips, press them together. And if looking over your front fingertips works for you, as you bring your arms down, take a peek over your front fingertips. And try that a couple of times. Of course, you can skip the turning of the head. You can skip anything at any point. And then drop your arms. Look to the front, the center, whatever this is. I guess this is the front. Lift your arms and give yourself a hug. And then try that leaning thing, just a little lean to one side and then back. Notice what that feels like in your core and everywhere else. Then release your arms, straighten your front leg, extend your arms out again, tilt your hip so your back hip kind of comes up, stretch through your front fingertips, and then lean and bring your hand down somewhere along your leg, maybe lift your upper arm up and come into triangle. Take a couple of breaths here in triangle or trikonasana. You can look down, you can look forward, or you can look up, or you could try
each one and see what works best for you. And then bring your back hand to your hip, start to bend through your knee, and plugging through that front foot. Come back up. Then toe heel your feet in, and just kind of give a gentle shake to everything. And when you're ready, set yourself up to try that on the opposite side. So step your legs wide. Bring your hands to your hips. Think about engaging enough through your low body and your core so that you can begin hinging at your hips and coming forward to whatever degree works for you. Maybe bringing your hands to a piece of furniture or your fingertips to the floor or blocks. And deciding if you'd like to stay here in this kind of 90-degree-ish fold, or would you like to continue folding and allowing your head to drape down and your back to drape down? If you're folded all the way over, come back to halfway up. And then as you're ready, come all the way up. Take your time. And once you're all the way up, turn your left toes in a little and your right toes out. So they're facing to the side. Start to bend through your right toes. Through your right knee. Extend your arms out to the side and come into your warrior two here. And you might check out your neck here. So what is it like to look over your right fingertips? And then if you're doing that, bring your head back to center. Try lifting your arms, pressing your fingertips together if you like. And then opening them back up, maybe looking forward. And try that a couple times if it works for you. If not, you don't have to do it. Make sure you're taking care of you today. And then release your arms. Face that long edge of your mat. Extend your arms out. Give yourself a hug. And from here, if you'd like to try that leaning thing, so kind of like a little mini crescent, leaning through your side, just a few times. And then opening your arms again, straightening through that bent knee, kind of lifting your hips so your back hip comes up a bit, your pelvis tilts, stretching through your front arm, and then leaning to your side, bringing your hand somewhere along your leg, maybe lifting your upper arm up. You might also keep it on your hip. Deep breaths. When you're ready, if your arm is up, bring it to your hip. Start to bend through your front knee and press through that leg to bring yourself back up. Toe heel your feet together again. Shake anything that needs shaking. Whatever movement you need. And then as you're ready, come into mountain. So feet wherever feels stable and comfortable. Maybe lift your toes up and press down through the balls of your big toe, your pinky toe, your heel. Drop your toes. You might close your eyes if you like. And just lengthen up through your spine and notice what you're feeling. Maybe take a really deep inhale and sigh it out. And then, as you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open them and take your time coming down onto your mat. Have a seat. As always, if you want to boost your hips up, go ahead and do that. And as you're ready, bring your legs out in front of you. You can bring your fingertips to the ground here. And then as you're ready, bend your right knee, place that sole of that foot on the ground. And then see if it's possible to lift that foot and step it over your opposite leg. So keeping both sitting bones on the floor. And if you're kind of tilting up or this just doesn't work for you, the further out you draw your foot, that might create a little more space. And you can always keep your foot on the inside of that extended leg, whatever works for you. But from here, keeping your right fingertips on the ground behind you, you might lift your other arm and begin to twist towards that bent knee to any degree. You might bring your hand around that knee. You might rest your elbow on the outside of that knee, if that works for you. But take a few deep breaths, and you're just going for a little spinal twist here. If you'd like to try turning your head to look over your back shoulder, your right shoulder, you could do that. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana. And as you inhale, think about lifting up through your spine, finding some space through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, think about moving into that twist. So you're not trying to force yourself into the twist, but just feeling the kind of separate parts of it, that lengthening up, finding space, and also the energy of twisting through your spine. As you're ready, you can release that, come back to center. If your foot is stepped over your leg, you can uncross them. Maybe extend both legs out, lean back a little and kind of give them a little shake, maybe a little side to side flopping, if that feels good. And then we'll try that on the other side. So bend your left foot and either keep it here or step it over your right leg, whatever works for you. One is not better than the other. And keeping your left fingertips behind you on the ground, either bring your right hand to your bent knee and begin to twist, or you could bring your elbow around kind of to the outside of that knee and twist. Same thing, keep that idea of extending up on your inhales, finding space. And then on every exhale, feel into the twist. Maybe look over your left shoulder. As you're ready, come back to center. You can uncross your foot if it's crossed, and then bend both knees and bring the soles of both feet to the floor out in front of you. And bring your hands behind you for the chilling at the beach posture here. And then drop your knees to one side and just gently notice what that feels like. Bring them back up and drop them to the opposite side. Then bring them back up, drop them to the first side. And if you need to scoot your butt back because it's walking forward, which happens sometimes, go ahead and do that. And then bring your left arm or your back arm, whichever it is, around and come into a little bit of a twist. And if you'd like to, two options here. You can come into a twist and explore the twist, or you can come into a twist so only so far that your body is aimed over that front knee and see if folding over that knee works for you. And it's not going to work for everyone, but if it does and it feels good, you can try that. You might even stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands, or take a block or a pillow and rest your forehead on that block or pillow. And if you're exploring that twist, you can do it at whatever angle works for you. So try to use this posture, whatever version of it you're choosing, in a way that does not feel like a ton of work, but feels like you can find a little bit of ease here. As you're ready, if you're folded over, you can lift yourself up and then unwind. Lift your knees up, recenter yourself, and try that on the opposite side. So dropping your knees down, twisting around, maybe only so that your body is facing your knee, and then folding over your knee, or bringing your arm out and coming into that twist and really exploring the twist gently, however you're moving. If it's possible here to take long, deep, full inhalations and exhalations, do that. And if it's possible for you to extend your exhalations out even a little bit longer than your inhalations, try that. If you're folded forward, you can come up and then come out of your twist. Bring your knees back to center. And from here, take a moment to decide how you'd like to set yourself up for Shavasana. So we have a few minutes. And if you want to lie on your back, you can lie on your back. If you'd like to sit in seated meditation, you could do that. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can close your eyes and just take this time to rest. And I will mute everyone so that we can rest quietly. And then you'll hear my voice in a few minutes. If your mind is wandering, come back into the present. Maybe deepen your breath a little bit. Wiggle your fingers. Maybe wiggle your toes. Start to move just a little. Take your time opening your eyes if they're closed. And if you would like to stay laying down, if you're laying down, that's fine. If you want to come up to seated, you can do that. And wherever you are, maybe take just a moment to give yourself one more hug. And as you're hugging yourself, think of one reason to feel grateful to yourself. And then just a moment to acknowledge the practice of yoga, which is an enormous, vast practice that includes so much more than the asana that we practice while we're here. But gratitude to the many, many yogis who developed the practice in ancient India and kept it alive and shared it with us. And thank you all for practicing with me today.